That's nothing I ever worked with. You never had any of the side ones where you could kind of change the magnification.
It's great. Have you ever seen one of those drum magazines in the field? To reload that in the field, like forget it. Wrapping the sling around and like getting a tight angle
Pulling
on it.
it in, yeah.
Like they've gone through and picked the most expensive accessories you could possibly put on, but it's great. This is a lucky guy.
Not familiar.
No, I have not used this one, sorry.
Hey everybody, I'm Israel Wright. I'm a former Green Beret stationed out of Fort Lewis, Washington, and I was deployed to Iraq in 2008. Welcome to Total Recoil, a brand new series where we explore weapons, the military, video games, and everything in between. My very special guest here is Captain Lars Whelan, ship's captain, specializes in high-risk sub-sea construction. Did I get that right? Okay,
That's
good.
right. Yep.
And he's worked with special forces units from all over the world for over 20 years, and we're really happy to have him here.
I'm really excited. This is going to be cool.
Today we're going to be looking at Insurgency Sandstorm. Now, Cameron and I in the Experts React arena have already kind of looked at this from a tactical point of view, but today we're going to get real granular. We're going to go down and dirty with all the weapons and all the attachments and things like that used in the game.
Yeah, I heard this game is really realistic, so I'm looking forward to this. It should be fun to really get into it and see what it's like.
Colt M4A1 14.5 inch with EOTech XPS Plus G33 combo, flashlight, TD stubby foregrip, and Magpul Stanag magazines. That all sounds like stuff that I worked with actually, especially the EOTech.
Yeah, couldn't buy that in the civilian world.
Yeah, right. Not in California.
No, definitely not here.
What's that on the side? Is that?
I think that's got to be like an elevation and windage, right? Because there's no optics in it.
Yeah.
I like the heads-up display. That's great. Those are my favorite ones where you get like a little bit of magnification, you know? So he's probably got 2 or 3 times on that. And to be able to look through, and then still, if you like want to close one eye, you can get a little bit of magnification. Wow, the graphics are outstanding.
This looks a lot like what I worked with, but that was like 10 years ago. We had EOTech, we had the stubby foregrips.
We were just getting heads-up, and just to experiment with though. Like it wasn't standard issue. Some good cover in that building. It was all cement, you know? Like I was...
Colt M4A1 14.5 inch with aim point micro T2 plus G33 combo, flashlight, TD stubby foregrip, and Magpul Stanag mags.
I really like the flashlight. That's the best, you know? So useful. You probably won't need it today.
And now we got a smaller EOTech on the top there, a red dot sign.
Yeah, the same adjustment on the side though. That's interesting.
The M4A1, that was my primary weapon. That was what we shot with. Oh, he flips it up. It's a mag. It's a magnification.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's nothing I ever worked with. You never had any of the side ones where you could kind of change the magnification.
No, that's great. Especially with the little range like that. I've got the civilian version of this, the Bushmaster flat top, you know?
These ISMC guys, they look like they know what they're doing. Those are really cool mods. HK 416 14.5 inch barrel showcase. The customization.
Nice. Heckler & Koch makes great weapons.
This is still an M4, right? Just different customizations with HK? Is that what we're talking about? No, it's not an M4 anymore.
It's not, no, because I think it's shooting a 308, right? Have you ever seen one of those drum magazines in the field?
No, never used the big drums, no.
It's too heavy, it's too bulky, and they're like finicky, like, you know, I wouldn't want to mess with one of those.
No, I don't know. We were never in a situation where we had to throw that many rounds that quickly, you know. A 30-round magazine, we would have a set of 6 or 7, you know, that we would go out with, and that would be enough.
To reload that in the field, like, forget it. Of course, you know, you're not really carrying around boxes of ammunition. But.
Yeah, maybe if you're in a squad and you're the guy, maybe that's your purpose to have that drum, and then that's it, you know what I mean?
In the early 90s, I was working with this guy who ran a plastics company that was testing variations of weapons for special forces. We were testing soft packs. So they were like chain fit for the M4, but a little soft canvas bag that clipped on and it ran right through. It'd be like 100 rounds in a small sack like that, you know? It's pretty neat.
For the M4, that's wild.
But it never made it out, so I guess it didn't work.
That looks like a wider magazine. Like it almost like funnels up. Stacked. Yeah, it like bottlenecks up. Yeah, like maybe like a 40 round or something like that?
It totally could be a 40 round. It looks just longer than a regular 30, huh?
Right.
Quad stack.
Ah.
Look at that.
60 round quad stack. Okay, there we go. HK 416, 14.5 with Giselle handguard and charging handle, ACOG with ACSS reticle and top-mounted RMR, offset flashlight, Magpul angled foregrip, and Surefire 60-round quad stack magazine. Sounds like a
60
dream.
rounds. Quad stacks, so you got to think of all 4 of those stacks feeding in together, man.
Right.
I'd be a little worried about the reliability of that, especially as you're like jostling around trying to get them to lace into each other as they go up the stack.
Right. I mean, that's what I've always heard. The difference between the AK and like something like, and the M4. M4 is very precision, more precise, but also finer instrument. You got to take a little bit better care of it.
That's right. AK much tighter tolerances.
Exactly.
Than that AK, you could put the AK in mud and fire it.
Yep.
Fine.
Yeah. That foregrip, see, I love that angled foregrip what we were talking about. I've never used anything like that before.
No, it's nice. It's kind of like wrapping the sling around and like getting a tight angle
Pulling
on it.
it
Like
in,
there.
yeah. The charging handle looks like super slick.
So he's got just a straight optical scope underneath and then the red dot on top.
Yeah, stacked on top.
So you must have to like flip up that lens cover.
Anything you're noticing about recoil or anything like that?
The recoil looks pretty realistic to me.
Yeah. Pretty tight, pretty cool.
Everyone's got a car in their living room, sure.
Daniel Defense M4 Block II with Night Force, ATA CR LPVO scope, CAG hand stop, and Magpul Stenag magazines.
This looks like an expensive system. Like they've gone through and picked the most expensive accessories you could possibly put on, but it's great. This is a lucky guy.
Got magnification there.
Yeah. Wow. I like the reticle.
A lot of information there.
The left to right, the numbers going down, is that?
They're actually symbols. So I'm guessing
You just count them off as you're like looking at windage.
and then the up and down is just going to be the elevation.
Let you do it on the fly without actually making an adjustment using all that information on the screen.
cool.
Be my guess.
I love it.
The only thing is like this guy is shooting through a lot of stuff that I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to give the bullet the opportunity to tumble once it goes through one of those palm fronds or whatever.
Right.
Oh, very effective.
Really cool, really slick. If you're looking for like a real world kind of mil-sim experience for a video game, that's it.
If you're planning an operation, if you could get the building on this and just run the guys through before you actually go in,
Right.
like you'd have so much better familiarity as you enter the building.
There's got to be some unit somewhere.
Someone's
that
doing
has a
it,
LAN
yeah.
party, yeah.
So much cheaper than like actually building the building, at least to get started, you know?
AK-12 showcase. Well, AK-47 is like, that's the one, but AK is obviously the designation.
Yeah, that's that guy.
Kalashnikov,
yeah.
Kalashnikov. They got a movie about him out. Did you know that?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's called AK, the story of whatever,
Really?
whatever. It's a fairly new movie.
Is this a 12 gauge version of this? I'm not sure.
You get like half the accuracy with these AKs, but maybe higher reliability than the ARs or the
think so too,
M4s.
AK-12 with loophole hammer scope plus Delta red dot on top, Zenit Co. RK04 grip, offset flashlight, bakelite magazine. That's my curiosity when it comes to different manufacturers. Is like a red dot sight's a red dot sight, right? Like I mean, maybe small variations, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on like different kinds of ACOGs, different kinds of laser sights, things like that?
Well, I think, as a unit, it's going to be real important that you have some interchangeability there, especially anything that's got a battery like this. You really don't want to have multiple types of batteries. I mean, this is slick. This is really slick, and it's great. I'm sure it's terrific. As far as, using one versus the other, for me, it's like, how well is it going to take that recoil before its reticle starts to drift off a little bit there?
Good point, yeah.
It's just how well the shock absorption is in there. Because some of these are meant for, small arms. Like, you can't put a 22 see-through sight on there and then expect it to hold the recoil of a 308 or a 7.62.
MA110A2 in 6.5 millimeter Creedmoor, ACOG ACSS reticle, RMR on top, Zenit Go RK04 grip, Peak 15, and a flashlight, and then a 30-round MP mags. We worked with P mags. That's the type of magazine that sounds familiar to me.
So when you were in the field, did you ever have like anybody bring in their own?
The only thing that we were allowed to personalize in terms of our gear, we could go to Tactical Tailor outside of Tacoma, Washington. We could get pouches, all sorts of pouches for our Molly gear and things like that. We weren't allowed any kind of latitude when it comes to like sights and different things like that because it all had to be uniform.
Sure, yeah.
Because we all had to be able to understand it and interchange it and stuff like that. That interchangeability between the units and stuff. Some guys had alternate sidearms. There were a couple 1911s out there that I saw.
Yeah.
We had the standard kind of like 9mm Beretta when we were out there. But no, not a lot of interchangeability when it comes to like the sights and the grips and things like
They
that.
probably limited you to NATO rounds though, right? Like if you're going to use a different sidearm, it's still got to be in the NATO family so
Yep.
that they've got it available.
Exactly, yeah.
That's cool.
AK-103 with PSO-1 illuminated scope and AK PMags.
I like that reticle too. I kind of like to have a little bit of light in there, you know?
Just a little offset with the color and stuff like that, or
Yeah, so
illuminated?
like that's going to be an illuminated reticle. So even if it's kind of low light, you're not going to struggle to find the cross.
This one's a little easier to read too.
Let us know in the comments what you think about all this kind of fancy stuff. If you worked with it or not, what do you think? SA58, OSW, and Trigicon ACOG with RMR on top and flashlight and CAG hand stop.
This one's interesting. It's got a quick detach sight off the top rail there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, swap it out pretty quickly if you needed to.
I wonder about like with the height of that because there's not going to be like a chin rest on in the field.
Right,
so,
you're
like,
gonna have
get your
to-
face up to it. You're not going to be able to lean in against the
No
stock.
cheek stock weld, yeah.
Yeah. Nice job coming around that door frame there.
Yeah, good tactics, I like it. Checking your corners.
Oh, this is that sight, the Tricon. Okay, the see-throughs. That's
Checking
nice.
the pistol sights, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty unusual to see that, especially in the field. Anything with a glass on a pistol, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're
But-
gonna be running around.
But it's great. Get to keep both eyes open. It's fantastic when you're trying to clear something.
Any thoughts on the grip? We either supported from underneath or we had a foregrip that we would hold on to. But now I see there's almost kind of a straight arm kind of grip out there, gripping it by the side of the barrel.
Like obviously you want to pull it in as tight as you can.
Right.
Like you don't want any gap in between your shoulder and you want it just to be as stable as you can as you go through. So I kind of like this new grip with the 45 because it's giving you that to push against. Kind of like the handle, but not maybe as much of like a snag hazard as a 90-degree handle to the back barrel.
Yeah, right. M110K2 showcase. I love that buttstock.
Yeah, that's really cool. So it's gonna be fully adjustable.
Yeah.
That one does have a bit of a nice like cheek pad, although it still looks too low for that scope. Huh?
Right. That takes some getting used to.
Yeah.
Those are the grips that I was used to. Clear mag's right in there. Yeah, I was suppressed, yeah.
Or it was suppressed. Now it's onto a muzzle brake.
And nice
Peak
light.
15, we worked with those. I know that was something that we worked a lot with. The IR laser or the red dot laser.
Yeah, that IR is cool.
Yeah, that's point and click.
Yeah, so if you don't know that, the IR is like, you won't be able to see that unless you're looking through the night vision goggles. So it's not like a laser where you're letting them know that, hey, we're sighting in on you, you know?
But you get the same effect, which is really neat.
Not familiar.
No, I have not used this one. Sorry. It looks like a version of the Uzi, but MP you'd think would be another Heckler & Koch product, but it doesn't look anything like an MP5 or 10. Huh?
Looks slick, yeah, very, something like the SAS would use or something like that.
Yeah, more like a like Israeli arms like version
Oh,
of the Uzi
there you
or
go,
something,
yeah.
Mag 10 or something.
Those Israelis.
Oh, custom Glock19 showcase and gameplay.
Glock's mostly polymer, right? Polymer on the bottom, and
Yeah.
then you got the metal slide.
So that looks like a C that's got the built-in compensator. You see that like up forward?
Up front?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not super necessary on a 9mm to have a compensator, especially with a suppressor like that. You know, it's not going to climb too much, but it'll be effective.
Compensator used for recoil.
It's going to keep it from climbing up. You know,
all right.
It's a big suppressor, and it'll work. But then you got to have subsonic rounds. That always makes me a little nervous. Like, is this going to cycle properly with that subsonic round? If you don't have the subsonic round, it doesn't matter. Once it leaves the gun, it's still going to be making a lot of noise as it travels.
Checking the corners, I like it, I like it.
This is the RMR scope.
Okay.
If it really is sturdy enough to take in the field, it's nice. And that one's kind of a lower profile version, right? That'd be much better. Like, I'd be worried about that thing snagging up on anything. Like, how long is that gonna last?
I see myself getting like a custom holster just
Yeah.
for that. Sig Sauer P320 showcase. I never owned a Sig Sauer.
So we had the 226s with us when we were in the Philippines with the SEAL Team 5.
All right.
That was the thing that everyone was using.
Oh, cool.
I'll tell you what was amazing about those, like, they'd swim with them fully loaded in the water, and they'd get out and they'd still work. We'd come back to the ship, they just throw them in a 50 cal ammo box, like the whole platoons, and then next morning you open up, there's actual rust crystals growing on it. But they had some magic juice that the weapons op guy would just spray it down, let it sit overnight, and it looked like brand new the next day. It's like, how does this happen?
This is a miracle technology.
Sig Sauer P320 9mm with TL1 Streamlight and RMR red dot sight. Ruggedized miniature reticle. Big brain.
Very nice. That thing is definitely growing on me. That's a nice package with the light and everything.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs the light right now.
Loadout Scar L with various attachments. They were just getting into the Scar as I was out processing in late 2009.
Okay,
Just starting to train with
after
them.
me, so I haven't seen this one. It almost looks like a bullpup stock, but it's not, right?
Right, yeah. Very bulky looking folding stock right
I know,
there.
it's crazy. Like when that folds in, it's almost like it's gonna cover up everything.
Right.
It looks like it'll be completely over the safety and the
Selector switch, you know, and the mag release. I wonder how that works.
This is super detailed. We did a video, Escape from Tarkov, and there's a whole customization section in that game. This looks almost as detailed as that. Scar L with EOTech Voodoo optics. Ooh, Voodoo. Borealis muzzle brake and 40 round PMAG.
Did you ever see 40 round mags in this field?
Nope.
It's always 30s, right?
Yeah, always 30s. Always, that was always standard with us. Oh, it must be Marine. I see that sleeve.
That's right. I like this digital camo too. That's amazing how effective that is.
Just missed the digital camo. Oh, we're in winter time too.
It's like some voodoo science that they've done to figure out, like, okay, this weird little pixelated camouflage. I have used it playing paintball, and I have to say, like, if you're just leaning up against the tree and not moving, that stuff is great. If you can't see the white of your face, just cover up all your skin. Like, people walk right by it.
The basic idea of camo is to break up the lines, right? So that, you know, the eye kind of looks for things that, you know.
Like, it's those little tiny squares, but somebody smarter than me figured that out. I would have thought, like, oh, your brain would recognize, like, there's not so many 90-degree patterns in nature, but it totally works. So, like, whoever figured that out, hats off. You're smarter than me.
Didn't you see the karambit in his hand? I'm so glad that I got to do the majority of my weapons appreciation in the military when I was being paid to do this, because firearms, it seems like an expensive hobby, man. There's all these
ammo. Like if you want to be good,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, holy God.
thousands of rounds and
I
thousands
know.
of wow, 40 round mag.
Like I read SEAL Team 6, you know, those guys are shooting like 100 rounds a day, every day, just to get started.
100,000 rounds, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Ammo's expensive.
You ever do what we call it a stability drill, where you take a full magazine and you put it on full auto and you try to hold it on the target with one trigger squeeze. You just try to hold it down.
Yes,
and try to-
I have done that, and you walk.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's when you're trying to get rid of ammo at the end of the day.
That's right.
You don't want to turn it in.
You don't, yeah, exactly. Don't want to cut. Like I have had that experience where we were shooting so long coming back into Guam. We were trying to shoot off all the ammo, but at the end they're just throwing ammo over the side. Like we really don't want to have to inventory this when we get back. This was in the 90s long time.
Weaponsmith, AR-15, 10.5-inch barrel, .300 blackout ammunition, Daniel Defense stock, Maul C1 combo laser and light, Giselle charging handle, Magpul MOE, rear grip, Giselle 10-inch barrel strap. Go.
10.5-inch barrel and a
10-inch. So he's only got like a half inch of barrel
sticking out past the grip.
Wow.
You know, that looks like longer than 10, but that's cool. So if that's a 5.56, that's pretty short. You know, it's a nearly pistol. It would definitely not be legal for civilian use. You know, 10.5-inch barrel,
yeah.
unless it was a pistol.
But then it can't have the buttstock on it. You know.
That's that light laser
Combination. So he's gonna have like on the grip somewhere to turn that on, probably like a pressure pad.
So it's just iron sights though. Like I can't. Yeah.
40 round magazine. You just mount that on something. Don't do that, don't you? You get a misfeed.
And you don't want to pull on it either to pull it into your shoulder.
No.
Same thing.
Giselle charging handle, different model.
It's pretty rare that you need to actually use the charging handle though. That's just when you're getting started. Because if you're in the field, right, you're gonna eject the magazine, drop it, and then just drop the slide again. You don't have to charge it.
You empty that, you drop the source of feed, you pull the charging handle back to lock the bolt back, load it in there, and then boom, you let it slide forward, and then you're good to go.
Yeah. You don't need to charge it every time you change the mag though. You can just drop it. It's really just a clear a round that might have failed you know, to get it out. But so there's a little bit of a trade-off. You get that extra big one, it's easier to do, but then it's easier to hang up on something
Could
too.
be, yeah.
You know?
Yep. Glock17 P80 in loadout / weaponsmith. Glock17, is that the standard law enforcement?
Yeah, I've got one, 9mm 17 round mag.
It's fairly indestructible.
I read it cost Glock $50 to make that, and they sell them like the base price is $550, and you're lucky if you can get one new for $550.
Oh my goodness.
It's a good return, I guess. Austrian. Of course, made in the U.S. now, but it's an Austrian design.
Look at that light just sticking off the bottom there.
Yeah.
So you probably got another 3 in there?
Okay.
So that bring you up to 20 rounds? It's a lot for a pistol, you know.
M4A1 Block II with ACSS ACOG optics with canted RMR. Oh, canted, okay. KAC NT4 suppressor. TD stubby foregrip. M203 grenade launcher. Yeah. 40 round PMAG.
That's a lot of
That's a lot of
gear
stuff.
on one platform.
Oh yeah, it's humongous.
Oh my gosh, they got it all on there.
It's heavy, yeah.
This is Ripley going into the Queen's lair at the end of the movie.
Those 40 millimeter grenades are heavy too. Like
40 Mike?
Yeah. Toting those around. They're fun though.
I messed with those a little bit in training, but I never actually went out on a mission with one. We were always in an urban environment. I don't think there was ever the thought that we would need anything like that in close quarters and stuff like that.
Well, we still had the old one too. I think it was the M79, which is just a
M79.
single shot, you know,
Breech
which was
loaded,
great.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so we had both, like in the field, it was good. Like some guys like one, some guys like the other. But God, those guys are having a rough day.
General impressions first. That's a long way from Half-Life 2, you know.
That's right. Yes. My last first-person shooter. I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike, and it's come a long way since that.
I was super impressed with the realism of the game, and I can't believe the detail on the mods. Like, there's so many options out there, and they've done a really interesting job of putting together different systems with the available aftermarket stuff out there.
Yeah, really crisp and clear. Too many mods for me to wrap my brain around. I can imagine those weapons weighing a lot, you know, with all those ACOGs and M203s attached. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for this first episode of Total Recoil. Leave a comment below and let us know what you'd like to see in future episodes of Total Recoil. Who knows where we could be next. And if you'd like to see more content like this, go to Gamology's Facebook and YouTube page. And if you want to hang out with this guy a little bit more, go over to twitch.tv/myhappyself.
No, that's all right. I don't even have my own. I just use my dog's. We ran into some like tween Kardashian or something, and she already has 1 million like teenage followers on her little dog page already.